Okay, we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Wendy, you want to take the roll call?
Mike Hobson,
Here.
Michelle Blythe,
Here.
Jen Schweddy,
Here.
Marilyn Bertley,
Here.
Jessica Stickles,
Here.
Deborah Nelson,
Here.
Tom Banny.
Here.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we were just talking about how beautiful the Innovation Center looks. And our first presentation this evening is our special guest, Diane Kamiaka from the Northwest Innovation Resource Center, to give us an update on the lab in Arlington. Welcome, Diane, and you're on mute. Diane, you're on mute.
Oh.
You'd think by now I would get that down, wouldn't you? With the myriad of Zoom calls that we have every day, but I guess I was just so excited to talk to you guys. So anyway, thank you very much, Mayor Tolbert, and to all the council members here for taking time in your packed agenda tonight to talk a few minutes about the lab at Arlington and what we're doing there. My name's Diane Kamiaka. I'm the executive director of the Northwest Innovation Resource Center, and we're at the beginning stages of operating the lab at Arlington. So I wanted to share a little bit about what we're doing there, hoping to do once we can do a little bit more. And then a new program that we just announced today. You guys will be the very first to hear about it as any of the councils in the county. I think the county exec knows, but that you're next. So if I may, I have just a couple of screens if I can.
She share her screen?
Share that. Let me see. It'd be coming up now.
It is.
That work for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, as you know, the lab is for all intents and purposes now remodeled. There's a few things left to do yet, and we've been tossing around what we could do for signage, which is kind of interesting options. There's that big revolving sign outside that we're talking about, whether there's a way we can put the lab at Arlington on there and have it very visible from the street. So we'll see about that. I will say that the staff at the city has been great. They've really gone out of their way to do everything that and actually come and be there for some of the initial testing that we did of the location. So shout out to all of them. What we've done so far, last week, Tuesday, we had 5 people, which is the max we can have right now, in there auditing via a Zoom call, a webinar that we were putting on for the Amazon Catalyst Fund. And we used it as an opportunity to test out the equipment, the sound, the TV, and how that all worked. And it worked really well. There's a bit of a echoing factor for talking back to the Zoom call. You can hear it fine, but if you try to talk back, it doesn't work so well. So we have to see whether or not there's a way we can do any kind of baffling, or else you just do chat stuff. So we did that last week, and now we're in the process of looking at, during this phase 2, when we are limited to 5 people, what are the options of how we can maximize the advantage of having the lab open, but still utilize it in a safe fashion according to the guidelines, at least for now. So we have a couple of ideas, which I'll talk about in a minute. We have not planned to do a formal opening now because of the limited use activities and because it's summer. So we thought we would target more the fall when we had the results of the Amazon competition and maybe tie that together, because it's all about innovation, and see what how that goes in the in the September-ish timeframe. The thing that we announced today, this slide that I'm going to show you is literally all words, but I wanted you to see the exact wording that was sent to the county people. And then we can kind of talk about it. But basically, we have been in conversation with Workforce and Homish because of all of the layoffs of knowledge workers and the displaced workers in the area. And normally in historic times of similar economic situations, entrepreneurial activity really balloons because people take the time to explore ideas that maybe they have had forever but never took the time to do anything about it, or they've gotten early retirement and they're not quite ready to hang up their shingle yet, so they take it as an opportunity. So on one hand, we've got those very knowledgeable, skilled people that are there that we want to keep in the area. On the other hand, we have startup businesses that could sure use some of the insight and knowledge of those individuals, especially if they could help them with product designs or market analysis or financial request or doing engineering drawings, that kind of thing. So we thought that by working with Workforce and Homish, it would be a really great opportunity to come up with a process that we could match the needs of not only the new startups that we typically work with, but perhaps some of those small businesses that are realizing that they're just not going to be able to reopen with their same original business plan, and they need to reinvent themselves, which requires some of the same skills and thought processes that a new business would. So we can take the opportunity to help those small businesses, establish small businesses as well with this knowledge worker resource. So we just announced it today. The first 11 weeks, as this says, is a way to put the detailed planning together about how this will work. So we'll be having a lot of contact with chambers and economic development people to get their input to see how this can work, at least in the short term, because we're assuming it's going to take a couple of years to get a lot of all this downturn in the economy re-energized and brought back to life. Although the way you guys are going in Arlington, it may not take that long because you've got so much going on with the CIC that's exciting. And I think some of the things that we'd be putting together through this program may actually dovetail nicely into some of the opportunities that you guys have put together. So that particular program gives us an opportunity then to do some things in between now and the end of the year, such as providing some workshops for entrepreneurs and these small businesses that we talked about, validating their new ideas, how to do market strategies. We'll be having conversations with WSU Extension on the project that you all have engaged them to do, because some of the things that we're planning to do and are doing for startups will dovetail nicely in with what they're doing as well. And then the mentoring and assistance that the knowledge workers will provide will also be incorporated. Some of our existing mentors can be incorporated into that. And then the knowledge workers who want to pursue an idea themselves will help them start their business as well. And the thought being that some of these groups will be smaller and small enough to fit into the guidelines for the usage of the lab at Arlington. So we can do a scheduling where small groups can schedule time in there and use them to work together, because the furniture's already there, the AV, the equipment and the communications is already there. So it's a good opportunity for them to have a bit of space to hang out and work together and think things through. So that's the majority of what we're planning to do at this stage. We'll keep monitoring that, and as we can expand and open it up to more and more sizable groups to get in there, it opens up the opportunity for wider use of the space, but always trying to keep it visible as far as stimulating innovation and how that would tie into the other economic development activities you have going on in Arlington. So I just thought that would be a quick overview of what is happening, and in case you were wondering what was going on down there for the last year and a half. Is there any questions that I could answer or additional information? We kind of ran through that quickly. Nope.
Why don't you take your screen sharing off? That way you can see everybody again. Typically raise their hand if they have a question. There we go. Anybody have any questions or comments for Diane about the lab?
We'll keep you posted as to the additional activities that are happening, and especially as we start getting this program put together with Workforce Snohomish and see how that dovetails into the activities that you have going on there in Arlington. So again, thank you for your time.
Deborah, did you have a question?
Well, I just want to say to Diane, it's been a great partnership all these years, and you're envisioning, and so I just want to say thank you, and especially during this hard time for so many to hear this new partnership happening with Workforce. I think that's great. So thank you very much for your part in Arlington.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure to work with Arlington because you guys are also enthusiastic about helping businesses. That it's been a joy. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Nice to see there'll be a place for keeping that worker talent local and helping them provide that mentorship to the next level of entrepreneurs. I think that's
hopefully
invaluable.
they'll feel good about what they're doing as well. So we'll see.
That's great. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Okay, we didn't have any members of the public that wished to speak this evening.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the consent agenda consisting of the minutes of the July 6th and July 13th, 2020 council meetings. Accounts payable, approval of EFT payments and claims checks 100096 through 100255, dated July 7th, 2020 through July 20th, 2020 for $858,325.98, and approval of payroll EFT payments and checks numbers 29553 through number 29559, dated June 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2020 for $1,442,472.05, as well as the interlocal agreement with Washington School Information Processing Cooperative, the resolution authorizing a customer support program, the ordinance updating Arlington Municipal Code regarding Arlington Commission, regarding Airport Commission, and lastly, the amendment to Process Solutions contract.
Second.
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, Jessica. That was a long consent agenda. So we'll move into our new business, and first up is the ordinance supporting House Bill 1406, authorizing funding for affordable housing. Paul.
Correct, Mayor. This is an ordinance that supports House Bill 1406 that authorizes cities and counties to impose a sales tax or use tax to support affordable housing. This is not a new tax. This is actually a portion of the state's sales tax that would be collected by the city rather than the state. Washington Association of Cities is projecting this to be about $40,000 a year for Arlington based on our current sales tax collection. And the intent here is to partner with Snohomish County, utilizing their Human Services division that could help administer this funding for us and supply rental vouchers to support affordable housing to residents within the city of Arlington.
Thanks, Paul.
Any questions?
Yeah, just some clarifying. So, all the 50,000 or 40,000, what you said, will only be spent within the city of Arlington.
Correct. Yeah, it would be dedicated towards city of Arlington residents.
Okay, do we know how many other cities in Snohomish County are doing what we're doing by any chance?
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. I hope so. Thank you.
Any other questions?
The follow-up to this will be is we'll bring a ILA forward from the county that'll explain how the funds are administered. We haven't done that piece yet. This is just required to keep this moving. As you recall, or may recall, we did a resolution in January that supported the program. And now we have until the end of this month to put an ordinance in place to lock that tax collection in for us. Like I said, we'll bring an ILA forward to between Arlington and the county that'll explain how the funds will be administered.
Okay, I move to approve the attached ordinance authorizing the implementation of local sales and use tax to support affordable housing and authorize the mayor to sign it.
Second.
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Next up is the Business Rent Relief Grant Program. Kristen Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, members of council. Tonight, I'm asking council to approve round 2 of the business rent relief grants. The total amount is $97,848. We received a total of 38 applications for round 2. 7 of those were carried over from round 1. Of the 38, we had 5 that were ineligible. We had 2 of the applications that were outside the city limits. We had 2 that didn't provide all the required documentation, and then we had 1 that did opt out. So the total amount of grants before you tonight is 33. If council does approve this tonight, the checks have been prepared and will be put in the mail tomorrow. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Looks like you covered it well.
Happy to hear that there's still funds left to give. So I'd like to move to approve an award of, well, do I do the whole 97 then, Kristen?
Yes, please. $97,848. Yes.
Got it. I move to approve an award of $97,848 in business rent relief grants as presented on the grant application summary.
Second.
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, passes unanimously. And I believe if I'm correct, we gave a total of 69 grants out through that round of funding. So that's
Yes.
great. All right, next up is the dedication of right-of-way for 169th Street Northeast. Mark Hayes on the farm.
On the farm. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. Before you this evening is a request to accept dedication of a strip of land for the creation of a public roadway, 169th Street Northeast. This is in conjunction with the Affinity at Arlington and Magnolia Place project.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mark?
No.
Okay, I move to accept the dedication of the described real properties as right-of-way to be known as 169th Street Northeast.
Second?
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, Mark. It looks like it passes unanimously.
Great, thank you.
So next up, we have the land lease agreement with CoStar LLC for temporary drilling site by our birthday guy, Jim Kelly.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor and council members. This item before you is to lease a parcel of land from CoStar LLC for a piece of property that is on the north side of the Stillaguamish River for us to do some geotechnical boring and hydrogeological investigation on possible future water supply from the north side of the river. We have a contractor under contract to drill 5 wells. 4 of them are on the south side of the river, and this one is on the north side of the river. We currently don't have any wells on the north side of the river, so in the future, we might want to go over there. This lease allows us to rent the property for up to 12 months, plus it includes a 12-month option to buy if we do find that the ground has a lot of good water on it and we want to put a well over there.
Does anybody have any questions for Jim on this one?
Jim, just one question to see if I'm remembering correctly, that one of the reasons why we're able to go on the north side of the river is because there's water rights in that, on that side, correct?
Yes, it's part of our existing water right. We have what's called a point of withdrawal, a POW, and it's basically a quarter section. And our quarter section extends from our Haller well to the west and then to the north.
Thank you. All right, no questions, and a happy birthday from the
Well,
East
thank you very-
Coast to you. So Madam Mayor, I move to approve the temporary land lease agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement pending final review by the city attorney.
Second.
Question?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. And since you chose to spend your birthday with us, Jim, we have a couple of more items for you. Next up is the right-of-way purchase for 204th Street, 77th Avenue Northeast.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. This item before, Madam Mayor and council members, this item before you is a request to purchase 2 properties and the associated temporary construction easement for the construction of the 204th and 77th Avenue roundabout. The purchase of these 2 properties will make the total properties purchased to 3, which means we're halfway there. We have 3 more properties to purchase. We have a budget for the right-of-way procurement of $310,000. And these purchases will bring us up to $75,000. So we still have sufficient funds for this phase of the project.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Just a quick one. So what was the 3rd property?
On the south side, there is the Banner Bank, Burger King, and the physical therapy veterinary place.
Okay,
On the north side is AutoZone, the Key Trust, which owns the small strip mall, and then McDonald's, Chevron.
okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions? Jan, I think this one's assigned to you.
Sorry, I don't get anything that tells me which ones I'm supposed to do. It's not in the agenda or anything. Okay, I move to approve the 204th, 77th Street roundabout right-of-way purchase agreements and real estate transactions negotiated by the city of Arlington and the consultant Universal Field Services for the Skagit State Bank and Botch Holdings, and authorize the mayor to sign pending final review by the city attorney.
Second.
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes unanimously. And the final item this evening is also Jim's. It's the design contract for the Smoky Point Boulevard quarter. Jim Kelly and Mark Hayes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. This project started out as a transportation project, but it's much more than transportation projects. It's a transportation and a community development project. As such, Mark and I have been working on this together. So I'm going to let Mark give you the background on this and a little intro on this project.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. So kind of reiterate on this. We've looked at Smoky Point Boulevard as a commercial corridor with a mixed use element along it. The preliminary design that we had in mind when we created the horizontal mixed use is that this would be commercial retail uses out along the street frontage with residential development behind the behind the retail commercial properties. This would be divided by an alleyway that ran parallel to Smoky Point Boulevard, which would service both the rear of the retail facility or establishments and service the residential portion of this corridor. And so that's when it becomes a form of planning project related to the land use, what our conceptual plans were for Smoky Point Boulevard, and moving this into a roadway project. One of the things that Petit presented during their interviews during the selection process is that they actually looked at the creation of the Smoky Point Boulevard as a public roadway project. And so that would develop the 2 lanes, one going in the north-south direction, a center turn lane, and then the drop lane, which was proposed, and the on-street parking would be, those costs would be borne by the development community as they develop the properties along there. But the entire plan would be out during this design process so that we could reference that as development occurred along Smoky Point Boulevard. So we were pretty impressed with Petit's presentation and feel confident that they are really looking forward to working with the city on this conceptual design. I'll let Jim give you the details of the funding.
It's a federally funded project where we have $960,000 coming from the federal government through PSRC, and we're going to be matching that with $640,000 of our own money. We will, as Mark has said, we will be building on previous works that have been done for this corridor, including the West Arlington plan. And we will be, as I said, building on this. So it's going to take a lot of engaging of the community, a lot of one-on-one with the community members in this COVID-19 crisis to develop this plan and to meet the requirements of the federal government regarding transit, regarding social equity, and doing a full comprehensive NEPA for this corridor. It's estimated to be a 28-month design project. And as we are designing this, we will be seeking funding for years past 2024, 2025 to start building this project.
Thank you, Jim. I have one question, but does council have any questions on this?
I just have one. So we don't have the funding for it yet. What I know down on the south part of Smoky Point Boulevard, there's going to be road preservation or what? So that will be done before construction on the north side, correct?
We are doing a little section of Smoky Point Boulevard this year, the very rough section. But yes, we will be preserving the south section of Smoky Point Boulevard from South City limits up to 174th Street in 2021.
Okay, thank you.
So I had a question about the funding, Jim. On our CAB, it says the estimated cost is 1.6 million. And with the extensive community engagement and the restrictions around gatherings with COVID-19, did Petit cover that in the contract? And is this a not to exceed?
Yes, it's covered in the contract, and we're right around we finished up at the end of last week. We're at $1,596,000 is where the final amount came from, and that was one of the biggest things was to find out from the subconsultant Enviro Issues how they were going to engage the public in COVID-19. It will be a combination of boots on the ground, knocking on doors face to face while social distancing and wearing masks, as well as online meetings and one-to-one Zoom meetings with businesses and citizens.
Okay. So then are you comfortable if the council has a not to exceed 1.6 million on it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Jan, this one is yours. as well.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve the selection of Petite Incorporated for planning, design, and preliminary right-of-way services for the Smoky Point Boulevard Corridor Project not to exceed $1.6 million and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement pending final approval by the city attorney.
Second. Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We'll look forward to the 28th month study. And
Well, I thank you, Mayor, and council members for a wonderful birthday gift of all three of my items passing.
not calling us cheapskates. All right, do we have any comments from council members this evening?
You know,
I do.
And then Michelle.
yeah, I just wanted to mention something that happened last week because, boy, it warmed my heart. So at our finance meeting for community transit, we have security through the sheriff's department. And once a month they come and report. And so I had asked them, I know that when we were not charging fares, that a lot of the homeless rode. And the gentleman that was reporting out said, yes, most of the time they would ride the blue line, get on at Everett, ride all the way down to Seattle. They were actually just living on the buses. There wasn't anything you could do. And one of the staff that's in charge of security at Community Transit came on, and he says, I'd like to add something to that. What Community Transit did is they put 5 social workers on those buses to work with the homeless that were just actually living there, trying to find places for them to stay, what kind of needs they had. And I got to tell you, I've not heard any company do that. But I got to tell you, that just, I mean, and they took care of a lot of people, and our fares are back, but to know that they stepped up above and beyond was just really touched me that day. And I wanted to pass that along.
Thanks, Jan. I also commend Community Transit for that compassionate approach that we know works to help people find resources.
Yes.
Michelle, did you have your hand up?
I did. So I'm sure many of you were on Governor Inslee's call today on COVID, but I thought the information was so good, and I felt like our leadership team there was really imploring all the leaders that were on the call to make sure that we were doing our due diligence to, wear masks and set a good example, and also really imploring businesses to do their part in making sure that they're serving people that have masks. There's a concern that, as we all know, that the cases are rising. And I know Governor Inslee talked about in his discussions with other governors in different states, simply wearing masks and making sure hands are being washed was really starting to slow down the spread of the disease in various states. So I felt like there was some good positive news with that, along with also the news that we continue to increase in numbers. And then I also thought it was interesting that 20 to 29-year-olds were the largest outbreak for now. So I felt like when I was listening, I thought, gosh, I feel like I'm back in March or April, but at least now we have the capability of taking care of elderly and we know what to do on that side of it. But then it's just simple things like wearing a mask and washing hands. So, just some good takeaways. I took a bunch of notes from what they were talking about. So just wanted to share. I'm sure y'all heard the same thing, but just wanted to share.
Thank you. Mike?
Yeah, I just have a request for the next workshop agenda to add an item. And I'd like to have on that, on the agenda list, Citizen Police Policy Review Board for deliberation.
Any comments from the council on that? Michelle?
Yeah.
Deborah?
I don't agree. I feel like Chief Ventura did such an excellent job of providing a complete outline of what the policies are. And I know for me, I feel really comfortable with the policies and the accountability and everything that the Arlington Police Department is currently doing to ensure that, policies are followed and there is a lot of accountability. And there's not just one person looking over this. There's groups of people. So for me, I don't favor taking it any further because I feel like the amount of work that he went into giving us that presentation was really for our benefit, so we could fully understand everything that our police department is doing at this time.
Deborah, and then Marilyn.
I tend to agree with Michelle. My concern with a citizen review panel, Mike, is that we don't have many citizens of color. And to be honest, I don't think that we're equipped as white men and women to look at it through our filter. And I felt assured by the groups of who, and forgive me, I don't remember the name of who our police policy is through.
Lexapol.
Okay, thank you. That they have groups of different diversity and lawyers that look at it. So I feel confident with what we have. I think your intention is good, Mike, but I don't think that we as a community of citizens have the right people unless, yeah, I just don't think we do. Thank you.
Marilyn?
I just tend to agree with both Michelle and Deborah that I think Jonathan and our police department is doing an excellent job. And the presentation that he gave just gave me more confidence. So I don't think this is necessary.
Jan and then Jessica.
Yeah, I would like to agree with Michelle and the rest of them. I know I've thought about this for a long time, and I don't mean to keep things going on, but I was over in Eastern Washington last weekend, and I was telling my son about Jonathan's conversation and what he told us. And he looks at me and he says, "Mom, do you hear what you're saying?" And I looked at him because I didn't understand what he was talking about. And he says, "Mom, other cities do not do what Arlington is doing. You really need to call Cairo News," which I did not do. But if there's a way, I would like to see us somehow or another take that presentation from the whole council meeting so that people can go there. I know people are going there because I'm sending them there. And so that everybody can hear it. And if we can get out the policies that are there, I just think the major objective is to get the information out to all of the community as much as we can so that they know what we're doing is right. And so I just have some concerns like Deborah, trying to put together a community group. It just concerns me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Jessica?
And I feel like I understand where you're coming from, Mike, because I do feel like we still need some more next steps. But I wanted to share with you that the couple of people that I've sent to the July 6th YouTube video to watch, Chief, have reported back to me that they're fully satisfied with what our city is doing. So that kind of put some peace on me that we didn't need to go into that some more. I mean, of course, there's more areas to look into, but the main feedback I've gotten from them is, okay, now on to the school district, you know, so their feedback is just that they're content with the amount of research and work that went into that report.
Thanks, Jessica. So Mike, it doesn't sound like the council wants us to bring that forward. And I have to
Well,
tell you, I
couple
think the
things.
staff
For
is.
one
I think
thing,
the
Chief
staff is-
Ventura did
Mike,
not.
can I just
did
finish
not
real quick?
speak to the policy.
I think that the staff is probably relieved because that's a pretty short time frame. And I'd like to say, we've been talking about this in the mayor's groups. And I clearly heard that Jonathan really has his arms around how to lead this department in a community policing focus that totally invites the community to be a part of what happens in our department and work with our officers, which I'm very comfortable with. I think it's the right direction. My question would be, does the chief need more tools from us in order to keep that direction going? And that's a conversation I thought maybe after our break we could have. What other cities have done is they let the chief put together a citizens committee that helps the chief hear directly from the community to keep the policies moving in that community policing vein. But it's a conversation I'd like to have with the chief first before I have it with the council, out of due respect.
Well, the chief did not speak to the policy, and that's why I'm bringing this up, that something needs to be done in terms of the policy. And I do think that the council may have a short memory if you think that Arlington is immune from the problems that we've seen nationwide and locally. We've had our own serious problem right here in Arlington, and I'd like to do something to try to ensure that it doesn't happen again. So I disagree with the council. It won't be the first time I've disagreed with the council, and I disagree with the council very strongly on this. I think this is exactly the time that we should be looking at policy, especially the use of deadly force and the consequences that would occur if a police officer shows a pattern of using such force inappropriately. That's a good place to start taking action so that we don't end up with a police officer that will misuse this and cause us a whole lot of heartache, which I think we already went through a while back to the tune of $1.5 million. And I don't want to see that repeated.
Thank you. Paul, do you have an administrative report this evening?
I just wanted to confirm with council that we have a budget retreat on the calendar for June 30th in the afternoon. We kept, of course, you know, we've pushed this out since April, hoping that we could have a face-to-face meeting, you know, in light of what's been going on with COVID. That's just highly unlikely anytime in the near future. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with our retreat on the 30th in the afternoon. It'll be a Zoom meeting. So you'll get the link. It'll be the same as what we're doing here at the council meetings and the workshops, but we will move forward with it.
We'd hoped to do it in person, so we're kind of sorry. We have to continue it online, but glad that you're all available. And I just have one report for the council. Last Thursday, Paul Ellis, the city administrator, and Jim Kelly accompanied me with Representative Congress Rick Larson to tour 4 potential federal funded transportation projects in the city of Arlington for about $13 million, in hopes that there'll be some movement on infrastructure now that the Senate's back in session. So we were able to tour them on those projects, and I'll send you tomorrow the one sheets we put together with the map of those projects so that you can see what they are. That's all I have.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Question.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Good night, everybody.
Night.
I
You know it.